Hey kid, guess what? We're gonna talk about digital revolution today. Do you know what it is? So, according to World Atlas, the digital revolution began between the late 1950s and 1970s. Well, instead of explaining things like this, why don't we just go back in time and see it for ourselves? Well, majority of the technology we see today aren't originally invented for the sake of entertaining people. It was actually invented to make some common tasks easier, like how they use wooden punch cards to weave and count Celsius, or the counting machine that didn't go as planned. But the following versions were better though. Well, basically, technology is just an idea that gave birth to another idea and another until we get what we have today. This revolution is pretty evident on audio formats. The transistor, which was introduced in 1947, paved the way for the development of advanced digital computers. In the late 1950s, Bell Labs engineer Mohammed Emmatawa demonstrated the effectiveness of silicon as a semiconductor material with his process of surface passivation by thermal oxidation. This and many more developments paved the way for the mass production of silicon semiconductor devices. Airchild engineer Federico Fagen improved MOS technology with his development of the Silicon Gate MOS chip, which he later used to develop the Intel 4004, the first single-chip microprocessor. It was released by Intel in 1971 and laid the foundation for the microcomputer revolution that began in the 1970s. The government, military, and other organizations made use of computer systems during the 1950s and 1960s. The concept of networking was born when a message was successfully sent through the ARPANET using a variety of protocols. Soon after, the computer was introduced for household use, and by the 1970s, many families had computers for personal use. Floppy disks and internet were also invented in this era. Video games became popular, both for home systems and arcade use. The increase of demand in digital technology even led to the creation of jobs. As businesses moved to digital record keeping, the need for data entry clerks grew, and by the late 80s, most businesses relied on technology. An important development in digital data compression technology was the discrete cosine transform or DCT, a lossy compression technique first proposed by Nasir Ahmed in 1972. Originally intended for image compression, DCT compressors later became fundamental to the digital revolution as the basis for most digital media compression standards from the late 1980s onward. The computer became a familiar machine, and by the end of the decade, being able to use one became a necessity for many jobs. The first cell phone, Motorola Dynatac, in 1983 was also introduced in this era. Millions of people purchased home computers, making household names of early personal computer manufacturers such as Apple, Commodore, and Tandy. The first true digital camera was created in 1988. The first were marketed in December 1989 in Japan and in 1990 in the United States. By the mid-2000s, they had eclipsed traditional film in popularity. The World Wide Web, invented by Tim Berners-Lee, became publicly accessible in 1991, which had been available only to government and universities. The first public digital HD TV broadcast was of the 1990 World Cup that June. It was played in 10 theaters in Spain and Italy. However, HDTV did not become a standard until the mid-2000s outside Japan. In 1993, Mosaic was introduced. It is capable of displaying inline images and was the basis for later browsers such as Netscape Navigator and Internet Explorer. The Internet expanded quickly, and by 1996, it was part of mass culture and many businesses listed websites in their ads. By 1999, almost every country had a connection, and nearly half of Americans and people in several other countries use the internet on a regular basis. By the year 2000s, technology has been far more better than its predecessors. Almost everyone in the world has access to the internet. We now have smaller devices that are capable of doing tasks like a computer, like Apple iPhones, smartphones, tablets. Flash drives replace CDs in terms of storing data. Devices became wireless thanks to Bluetooth. TVs no longer had antennas like before. It's now bigger and better. Plus, you can also access the internet. How cool is that? Thinner, lighter, and faster devices are now available in the market. Communication is online, money is online, jobs are online. Almost everything is online. That's how advanced we are right now.